Graham Stephen, one of the biggest finance YouTube channels to exist. He got an amazing podcast, the Ice Coffee Hour, has some of the most influential guests on there, and he knows so much about money. He launched his coffee company called Bankroll Coffee, and it's exactly what you think it is. It's just coffee beans or ground coffee, whichever one you prefer, and he would ship it out and then you would try and make money off it, but the business failed miserably. And they failed miserably because of these three main things that he himself admitted in this video, but I'm going to tell you exactly what they are and exactly how he could have avoided them, how you can avoid them, and at the end, how you can create your own coffee brand with $0 and avoid all of his mistakes. And I'll share that with you. Well, let's get started. So there were three main reasons why Graham's coffee brand failed. Number one, that he claims himself as well, is that he had really thin margins. So he wasn't really making that much money. He might be, buying a bag of coffee or a coffee thing for like 10, 12 bucks and then selling it for like 14, 15. And you might think like, okay, that's like $3, $4, $5 per bag. That's a decent amount of money. Well, in the grand scheme of things, you actually don't understand all the costs that end up adding up. Things like payment processing fees, they take like 3%. Things like shipping, things like unexpected costs with software, things like discounts, refunds, and all of a sudden he's actually losing money rather than making money. And all of his time is going for waste. This is one of the biggest reasons that Graham couldn't keep his business profitable, and he didn't plan out far enough. He was spending money on stock, getting stock in hand, holding an inventory, and he couldn't forecast how much he was going to sell, how much he needed, and he just wasn't making any money in general. When it comes to selling a product online, there's two main ways that you can overcome this obstacle and this problem. Number one is upsells. So if you're not sure what an upsell is, an upsell is basically when you come to buy something and then you get basically enticed to buy some other things that supplement that purchase. And you actually make most of your money on these other things, these complementary items, rather than the main product itself. That main product lures you into the website, but then you actually go and buy these other things, and that's where you make the most of your money. So Graham did not have enough upsells. Sure, he might not be making too much money on the coffee, but he could be selling a lot more accessories. He could be selling custom coffee mugs, custom coffee accessories, and all these other things that have much more higher margins that people would come and buy that alongside this, but he just chose not to. And if a business doesn't have cash is the lifeblood of a business, cash is king, and that's why he had a heavy downfall. The second way you overcome this is by adding subscriptions to your product. Coffee is something that you buy over and over and over again, and this is one of Graham's strengths, but he didn't utilize that by adding subscription models. So if you come in and rather than buying one bag for 15 bucks, I can be like, let me hop on a subscription and let me get a bag delivered to me every 2 weeks for 14 bucks. Sure, you might lose $1 on that, but you get a customer, for a very long time. Coffee is something that you constantly consume, and people will not stop drinking coffee. It's an addictive substance by nature, so people will continue to drink coffee. And rather than adding tiered subscriptions, having a good subscription system set up, he wasn't able to capitalize on that, and then obviously not get much cash in. And if you have a subscription model set up, you can actually forecast into the future to see how much cash you'll be getting in, and then you can use it to make better tactical decisions. But he didn't do that, and then again, if you don't have cash, you don't have the lifeblood of the business, and the business starts to falter. That was one of Graham's biggest mistakes that he could have easily avoided by adding upsells and by adding subscriptions. Now, the second thing that Graham said that was a really big killer in terms of how profitable his business was, he had huge branding challenges. So when they launch a product, whenever you launch any product, you think, oh no, I'm going to buy so much stock, I need to make sure the branding's right, nothing can go wrong. And that is a risk, because if you mess up the branding, if you mess up the packaging, if you do something wrong, then all this stock that you pre-ordered basically going to go to waste. And what happened with Graham was that the branding just wasn't on point. He was unsure if that resonated with his audience, if it was the right branding, and later on he actually had some legal challenges where companies were trademarking their colors, and they said that they actually looked quite alike to another coffee brand. There was too much likeness, the brand name was there, and all the stock that he had was causing him headache because he could no longer sell the stock now, so it had to go to waste. Then he's dealing with legal battles with his other company, and it was all a huge headache. And it's fully valid, but he could completely avoid this, and you can avoid this too if you want to start your own coffee brand, is by rather than buying so much inventory and buying so much stock and bogging yourself down, you can use an on-demand provider that sells coffee or sells products on demand. And what that really means is that you actually don't need to hold any stock. You can basically upload your product to your website, and then when someone buys it, only then will someone else, your supplier, custom print and get your product set up and then ship it out to them. And that means that you can actually change your designs on the go. You can make the designs, you can send it out, and then when someone buys it, then the supplier will package your coffee beans, the ones that you like, with your custom packaging, and then ship it out. And then after tomorrow you want to change the design, you can just go to your website and then change the design, make it a different logo, make it a different color, and then ship it out with a new design and not have to worry about inventory at all. There's a bunch of suppliers that do this. There's two of the main ones. One is Printify and one is Upsells, and they basically let you sell on demand. I have a huge list of suppliers that do this. If you go to buymeacoffee.com/blueprint. I share the top 10 products to sell as a creator. I'm giving that away for free. And these suppliers are in there along with a lot more and way more details. So if you're interested, you can go down and download that at buymeacoffee.com/blueprint. But if you go to printify.com, you can basically see all these products, these different types of coffee blends from different companies with different roasts. You can try whichever roast that works best for you, which one you want to sell, and then add your own design and then change it up at any point in time if you want to. Something that Graham didn't do, and honestly cost him his entire company. And not only that, but you can actually customize the upsell products that we were talking about earlier. Things like a coffee mug with your own custom design on it, custom branding, and you can actually make your money on the coffee and things like these too. That is something that Graham didn't do, and that's something that you can take full advantage of. And number 3, the third biggest freezer that Graham's coffee brand didn't go as planned was because he had an over-reliance on his personal brand to scale. Now this is actually a pro in the beginning. You actually get a lot of eyeballs to your brand because of you, who you are as a creator is your brand. People love your product, people love you, so then they'll buy your product. But you can't rely on it forever. If you want to turn something into a good, successful business, you use that to kickstart your business and you use that as like fuel to top up. Eventually you need other reliable sources to come in and take that brand to the next level. What Graham didn't do is he didn't spend money on retargeting ads. So if you don't know what a retargeting ad is, you know what a basic normal ad is, right? You go on Instagram, you go on Facebook, you go on TikTok, whatever, and you see an ad come up for a product. Sometimes you buy it, sometimes you don't, whatever. Now these normal ads cost quite a bit to get your ads out there to test, see if they work or not. But it's actually a special type of ads called retargeting ads. And what these are is, it's in the name. They basically retarget people that already interact with you. And the thing is, these ads are a lot cheaper than these ads. So it actually doesn't cost that much money to run, and people that you retarget will be way more likely to buy than people that are brand new. So if Graham was running ads like a new audience, people that don't really know him, the ads would cost a lot and they might not buy the coffee. Most likely it won't because they already know what it's about. But if he retargeted people that have visited his website, that consume his podcast, that go to his YouTube channel, which you can do, the cost would be super low and people that would buy would be way more likely that they actually go ahead and buy that product. And a lot of people don't know this, that you can run these sort of ads really easily and with like next to no budget. And you can basically squeeze out all the juice of all the customers that you had and keep these running the more you make content. So Graham didn't utilize running retargeting ads on Google and Facebook, and that's what cost him the success of the business. If he made an active effort to be like, I'm going to make sure I run these retargeting ads, I'm going to make sure I find other ways to keep this business alive and not just say I'm using my personal brand to promote it too much, then you could take it to the next level. If Graham used these 3 strategies of using upsells and subscriptions to get rid of the thin margins, of using a good supplier where you can change branding all the time rather than bulk buying stock and dealing with those branding and trademark issues that he had, and by running retargeting ads and making money rather than blaming it on being over reliant on a personal brand, he could have taken his coffee brand to the next level and competed with the biggest names out there. Because I really think that being a creator in 2025, you can set yourself apart from anyone else by having amazing curated products that suit your audience, and you can build an e-commerce empire. You can monetize your audience, you can run successful businesses, you can make a lot of money and give value to your audience. Luckily, Graham's a very smart dude, and I'm sure he'll find many more business opportunities and many more ways to make money, but it's a shame he missed out on this one. Maybe he'll give it a crack in the future. I really hope he does. But if you follow the exact principles that I described what not to do, what Graham did, and if you use a supplier like Printify, so for the ones that I mentioned in my blueprint, you can create your own coffee brand in like less than a day and start selling right now, and you could be what Graham was never got to be. If you like this sort of content or want to know how to do this more in depth, I post breakdowns, tutorials, and full guides and just like this sort of stuff, both on my YouTube channel and on my email list. So subscribe to that and YouTube channel if you're interested. I'll be posting more content just like this. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.